Hi folks, I've got some new transfer papers here. There's a wide selection of them. We're going to do 3 of them today for light t-shirts. They're from NuCoat and they're called Perma. So let's take a look at them. I've been sent 9 trial packs of transfer papers to try. Now, I've never tried these before, and this is an unbiased test and review of these papers. The company is called NuCoat, and they've sent me a selection of all their inkjet and laserjet printable papers, transfer papers, for us to try out, or for me to try out. And I'm going to do that in front of you, and then we're going to do a wash test over a period of weeks or whatever, and then you can see the results, and hopefully they're going to be successful. So I'm going to put them to the test, but first of all I'm going to show you the ones that we're actually going to concentrate on today. They've literally got loads and loads out there. They've got metallic inkjet transfer papers, laser transfer papers for dark coloured fabrics, sparkle inkjet paper, glitter inkjet paper, laser transfer paper just for standard white t-shirts, and black inkjet paper for standard white t-shirts. So let me show you now the ones that we're going to try out today. Right, so these are the 3 that I've chosen today. This one's a Perma light fabric transfer inkjet paper for white and light coloured fabrics. So that's number 1. That's product code there, as you can probably see. This is number 2. Again, it's the same thing for a white t-shirt, but this is what you call a soft transfer paper. So, and then we've got this one here, which is a glow fabric transfer. So I've not tried this before. These will press at 196 degrees C, which is 385 degrees Fahrenheit, and this glow in the dark one presses at 350 to 370 degrees Fahrenheit, and that is 176 to 190 degrees C. I only measure in degrees centigrade, so that will be this one. I'm going to put this one up to 190 anyway. So these ones are 196, and this one is 190 degrees C to press at. So basically all I've done for this is to pull up a generic image on the Google Images. I don't sell this image, it's not an image, it's literally purely for the purpose of testing these transfer papers on the t-shirt. I'm going to print these out now on each of the papers, and then we'll cut one out. And I think the best thing to do is to put them all on one t-shirt, so you'll have 3 of the exact same transfer paper on the same t-shirt. That way we can wash it, and we can also see how it differentiates between the other transfer papers. And I'll also put one of my standard transfer papers, which I use, which I've used for the past 12 years. I'll put one of them on the same t-shirt, so that we can actually compare the whole lot being washed together to see what it turns out like. Okay, I'm going to do that now. Right, okay then, I've printed out on the 3 papers which we've got from NuCoat. Glow fabric transfer, the soft transfer paper for white t-shirts, and also the light fabric transfer. And I've also printed one of my own standard transfer papers that I use personally, which I've used for the last 12 years, just so that we can get some sort of comparison. So initially, let me just show you how the colours look on each of the transfer papers. Well, this is my standard transfer paper, and as you can see, lovely vivid colours there. This is the glow in the fabric dark transfer paper, and all I would say is it's slightly different, slightly muted, the colours. When we move along to the soft transfer paper, that is pretty much the same as my one, and also the light fabric transfer paper as well. That is pretty much the same. So all in all, the colour definition of all the papers is pretty much the same across the board, apart from the Perma glow fabric transfer, which is slightly different. And one other thing to note as well is that actually weeding the paper up on the light transfer fabric is very, very simple. That one's very, very simple as well. But the actual glow fabric transfer paper is a little bit bitty and a little bit difficult to pull up in one go, and it breaks as you're pulling it. So this is the only difference that I've noticed so far. That's with the glow fabric one. The other 2 look fine to me, as very much as the same as my original one. So I'm just going to cut a single picture out of each one now, and then we'll apply them to the t-shirt. So as I say, the light fabric transfer, as you can see, weeds very, very easily. I've done a contour cut around these with my silhouette cameo, and as you can see, it does come off pretty nice at the end of the day. I've only done a rough cut this with the bow tie tool. You've seen me do a tutorial on that one, and this, as I say, this weed's pretty simple, to be honest with you. I'm doing them all on a big sheet here, as you can see on the A4 sheet. I should have actually cut these down into individual units to make the weeding a little bit simpler, but it's not really a problem, as you can see. This is the actual transfer paper, you can see, which I'm actually peeling off. This is what's going to be left on the backing paper here for us just to cut our little image out. And all I'll do is just get a small pair of scissors and literally just cut one of these out. Just to leave the transfer paper, as I said, so I can place this actually onto a t-shirt. You actually identify these different papers by the different colours stripped down the side. This one has got sort of a purpley strip, that's the light fabric transfer paper. The soft transfer paper's got a yellow strip there, as you can see, so they are identifiable across the range. So I'm just going to cut the rest out. Right, so as I've showed you, this glow in the dark one, if you can see that there, look. So basically trying to peel it off like I've peeled the other ones off, it is just basically ripping, and that won't be any fun whatsoever. So what I've actually had to do with this paper is go back to the cutter and put it back on the cutting sheet, as you can see, but this time cut all the way through so that the old transfer paper cuts the whole lot. And all I've done there is adjust the cutter settings, taking it up 2 notches on the cutter wheel so that you can weed this one out completely. Now again, it's not perfect, but it may need to go one more notch. Don't forget, it's all trial and error. When you're trying new products, and this is the stuff that beginners come up against when they're trying out different things as a beginner. You're normally trying all different products, and then there's a setup time. I mean, I've been here, for example, for about an hour, literally just trying to do this little bit here. And when you're a beginner and you come up against this right at the beginning, and with all the uncertainty you've got, you think to yourself, oh, there's too much hassle in t-shirt printing. Well, I've been through all this right at the very beginning, so all what you see me do on my YouTube channel and on my training DVD is as a result of going through all of these procedures, trying the different products out, having all the different settings, because I've actually had to change the settings as well to a normal sheet, plain paper, as opposed to my normal inkjet settings, which is a photo paper, which I use the settings. And now, as I say, for this glow transfer paper, I've even had to do something different again. So I'm just going to have to pull one of them off this time. And as I say, this would be, for me, see, this would be a hassle factor if I had to carry on doing this as a one-off, because it means you've got to change your printer settings. And this is why, as I say, I go through these things. So I do the testing. It takes me a long time to sort this lot out so that I can come to the conclusion whether or not it is a feasible product at the end of the day and worth persevering with. So anyway, that's what we've just found so far there. So I'm just going to get this ready now, and we'll print each of these on this t-shirt, and let's see how they look. Right, okay then, so what we're going to do now is just lay these on, and we'll see how they press. Now I'm going to press these all at 190 degrees C, which is what I normally press my original t-shirt transfers from. What I'm going to do is just to place my original t-shirt transfer at the very top there, and that will be our sort of marker as to our gauge as to what the rest have got to try and achieve. The one next to that, I'm going to place the soft transfer paper. Just trim that down a bit. That can go just underneath it, and then we'll place the standard light transfer paper, which is basically the direct comparison to the papers that I actually use. So I'm going to place that literally right underneath it, so that will give us that indication there. And the one at the very far side is going to be our glow in the dark one, so I'm just going to lay that on there like that. Right, so all I'm going to do there, I'm not even going to worry too much about positioning them. I'm just going to literally cover them over face down with a cover sheet, push that back in, and literally pull our heat press down for 30 seconds, although they say 25 to 30 seconds. I'm doing it a little bit hotter, and within the range of the higher end of their allocated time spectrum. So that's what we're going to do here. And it says that you can peel these hot and cold. I'm going to peel them hot because I normally peel my paper hot. So that's be the first one I'll pull off anyway, the one at the very top. So let's have a look what we got here. Right, let's just pull that back. Get that off. I'm going to take off the top one, which is my original transfer. There. I'm going to take that one off. And I'm going to take that one off. And I'm going to take the final one off, which is the glow in the dark one. And that one there. Okay. So let's just give it a bit of a stretch first of all. And then we'll have an actual look at the transfers once they've been applied. There we go. So let's just bring this over here and just lay it down. And let's have a bit of a closer look at the actual transfer papers. Right, okay then. Now again, light is going to be an issue here, I know, but this is the original one of my first transfer papers, the ones I actually use all the time. This one is the soft fill paper. This one is the standard paper, and this one here is the glow in the dark. And I'm sure you'll see so far, initially, they are all comparable with regards to the way that the colours transferred, and they're looking pretty good. And if anything, I would suggest that the NuCoat papers have got a little bit more vivid colour as compared to my original transfer papers which I'm using. So that's a good sign there. I'll say my papers are colour preference is probably exactly the same as the glow in the dark image there. So these two just seem to have a bit more depth of colour than my paper, but as I say, the proof is in the pudding, will be in the washing. The feel is pretty similar, although my one does feel a little bit softer even than the softer one there, so that seems to be a good thing. That one feels pretty soft as well, the actual glow in the dark one. So I'd say the glow in the dark one and my paper seems to have a similar feel. There's a bit more texture with these, and as far as the outlines are concerned, mine obviously has got no sort of outline at all, which you can't see whatsoever. These have got no line as I can see so far, although as I say, I can feel the actual texture there in the white pieces there, with not so much on my one there. So yeah, all in all, so far they look pretty good. So I'm quite impressed with them at the moment, but the proof will be in the pudding, and that's when we wash this garment. So I'm going to bung it through the wash maybe 2 or 3 times. And if there's any difference in either texture or colour loss or whatever, then I'll report that back to you in a video. As I say, these are the NuCoat papers, and it's their Perma range of papers. We're going to be doing all of them. As I say, the ones we've done at the moment are predominantly just for the white t-shirt ones. And so far, the way they press on there looks pretty good. The only thing I would say, as I say, is the glow-in-the-dark one, you're probably best to cut the complete paper out rather than try and peel the paper away from the backing sheet and then lay it on, because it tears very easily. So that's the only problem I see with that so far. I don't know if it's going to glow in the dark. I'll have to do a test on that when it actually gets dark. So okay then, so I'm going to leave that there for the moment, and hope you got something out of this video, and keep an eye out for the next ones in this series, because this is a totally non-biased test. They're not paying me to do this or anything like that. I'm doing this off my own back. They're brave enough to give me their range of papers for me to test, knowing that it could turn out good for them, or it could turn out bad for them. I don't know. We're going to see together. Okay then, thanks very much for watching. Hope this was of some benefit to you, and I'll see you again in the next video. And until then, bye for now.